Out of Canada. She should go. It's cold in Canada. Oh, ho, ho, ho. How you like that? Ag bag, the last one, getting disposed of. Guys, welcome back to the farm. Hey, Merry Christmas. Christmas Day. Milked the cows this morning. Left about 5 a.m. Came here, 20-second drive from my house. Very quiet out. Nobody was out. Got them milked, my brothers. Got them fed. And went home and had Christmas with the family. I thought I'd come back here and tell you, give you a walkthrough with, I got to check the cows anyway, and give you a walkthrough and talk to you about this new skid steer. We finally made a deal on that New Holland L321 from Burnup's Equipment. Had it here for about 4 months. He demoed it to me, then never came and got it. I put about 15 hours on it. You hear that? The ice and snow dripping and dropping and falling off these roofs. Very mild. Supposed to be 50-some degrees here in a few days. So we were ringing in the New Year's. Had 50-some degrees here in Michigan. But anyway, this skid steer, I put 15 hours on it, demoed it, but I wasn't quite sure if we were gonna get this skid steer or not. Some of you guys, I want to explain to you the process I did with it. My dad had taught me 10, 15 years ago on how to make a deal on equipment. A skid steer for a farm like us is like a commuter car for someone who has a regular job. If you're not a farmer, it'd be like a car. It's essential to getting to work, an hour drive there and back. So that skid steer, we've ran them used and old ones, and you can do that, but we're at the point now where we like to buy them new and trade them off at like 2,500 hours. And so the one that Mark was using down at the dry cow lot had just that, 2,500 hours. It was a Case SR210. Now I got a new one last year, another L321, brand spanking new, that I kept here. And we'll play them back and forth. He only puts 300 hours on down there. So once I start getting more hours on this one, we'll swap them back and forth. But how it works with a skid steer deal, be like a car deal, is the dealer generally comes to you. You don't have to take the skid steer or your car up to get appraised. The dealer, I call 3 dealers usually to see where I'm at on what they're going to give me for trade and if they're comparable with the new one. Now these 3 dealers are all with New Holland. Case and New Holland skid steers are so similar. I had one Case dealer up in Sandusky, I think it was, and then Burnup's, he's New Holland. I ended up meeting him, funny story, met him at a Farm Bureau event 5 years ago, randomly met him having cocktail hour. Someone introduced him to me, said this guy owns the biggest New Holland dealerships in Michigan. Ends up being like 6 dealerships. Became friends. He watches the channel, so that helps that we have a good relationship. That's always key. You got to have a good relationship with these dealers. Trust, honesty. So I called another guy at a Frankenmuth we've dealt with. We ended up buying that Case from him that I traded in to Burnup's. So I had him out and we talked, and they were all about the same on the trade-in for the Case. And then you had to work back on how much their new one was. But the difference is what Dad has always said or taught. We've got a lot of equipment around here. We'll find something that we don't use very often. In this particular case, it happened to be a sprayer, pull type sprayer we haven't used in years. So I gave all 3 of them the opportunity, and I said, hey, once they gave me the difference price, it was very high. I said, no, guys, that's too high. And I said, how about if you take the skid steer and you take a look at my sprayer and we'll throw that in the deal. And I don't know how many of you guys ever use that tactic. It's nice because you know what the thing's worth, because we've tried selling it in the past, so we know what it's about bring. And the one dealer in Sandusky, he wanted no part of it, which is fine. And I told him, hey, at this point you're probably going to be out, because the guy in Frankenmuth and Burnups, they're in on the sprayer. They appraise the sprayer, they give you a price on it, and then your difference. Wait, we work back from there, and these are the new stalls they're laying in. Check that out, bird's eye view. And it ended up being Burnups. This ended up getting the skid steer that's been here for 4 months. Like I said, I put 15 hours on it probably 4 months ago, and then I parked it in the barn. I didn't want to keep running it because I knew if I racked up the hours on it, then I would be buying it. But this all happened 2 days ago. I ended up losing contact with these dealers over the past couple months. Craig from Burnups called me. Then he showed up day before Christmas Eve when I was trying to feed out here. And I said, hey Craig, you coming to pick that loader up? He said, did you buy one? I said, no. I kind of lost contact with them guys. We were been busy. They weren't calling me. He said, well, I'd like to take the trade in and leave the new one. I said, okay. So, well, I got to get feeding. I had to scrape the manure and haul out. Dad and him were over in the calf barn chatting. I could see him. I was in the skid steer scraping all these, and finally I just stopped, and it was cold that day. It was sub-zero here a couple days last week, and that was the tail end of it. So I got out of the skid steer. I didn't want to waste his time, but he had another appointment up in Bad Axe or something at lunch. So I got out, and I kind of joked. I said, you guys make a deal yet? And they said, no, we're kind of waiting on you. What? It's just some back and forth went on, and then he took a phone call, and then Dad and I talked, and I mean, shoot, he wanted to sell us that skid steer. So I said, here, we'll give you this. You're taking the sprayer, you're taking the case. We'll give you this much difference. Throw us in a new tire scraper. You know, them big 7-foot tire scrapers, those things are $2 grand. I mean, they're not cheap. This young lady is laying backwards. And the deal was done just like that. He said, I'll do it. I don't want to bring it home. And that's how the deal was done. Wrote him a check, and we got another L321 New Holland, new bucket with it. And then the next day he come back with a cutting edge and the bolts to bolt it on. The blue bucket didn't have a cutting edge. But long story short, yeah, the Craig from Burnups, they're hard to beat. I got done talking with him, and then I went and talked to Dad again, and I said, man, he's easy to deal with. And it's usually that's not the case. I mean, because you're talking, these skid steers they're like north of $50,000 now. It's insane. But we had a good relationship. It helps that he likes to watch the channel, and he's probably about 5 years older than me, so we're in the same generation, I guess we'll say. But so that's how that worked out. I'm pretty happy with it. That's got the ISO controls and the H pattern controls. It's got the screen in it. It's got the backup camera. So we're good. We're good on skid steers again. And Mark got my 1-year-old one to take down the dry cut lot with the tire scraper. So I've got a new machine and a new tire scraper for up here, and we should be good now for a couple of years, because that skid steer had 1,000 hours on it that Mark took. And you know, we used to use the old used ones, but when we did that probably about, I don't know if it was 4 or 5 years ago, Dad had 2 used ones. One was a Bobcat and one was a older New Holland. You could do it, like I said, your commuter car, it's like a commuter car. You're money ahead if you can use an older one. But we had one blow up on us. The motor went through a rod. And then, you know, it was just, we ended up going back to the new ones. We don't buy much stuff new, but if you're not a farmer, think about it as transportation to get to work. And so that's kind of the way we look at it. We use it every day. Our barns are set up for skid steers and loading, and so we use new ones. Let's go check out the heifers. Heading in this middle barn. Here's the machine now. It's already, look at it, guys. It already needs to be washed. So you're talking a few days and this thing's already about trash. I gotta wash it up, but we like New Holland skid steers. We've had good luck with them. This heifer barn here, you see I've got some old first cutting hay, but they've got this corn silage. That's nice, cool stuff that I've been feeding them every day with their hay. They've been doing a lot better. But so that was what the deal was. It took a sprayer and the case. And now cases, I had a lot of people mention on another platform, they said, why'd you switch from case to New Holland? But in my mind, there's really no difference. They're stamped right down the same assembly line. They're very comparable. So if you were to compare it price-wise, and on top of them other dealers, something I didn't mention before, they had to order them other machines. And you know, this one was already here. You know, it's an old dealer trick, old car dealer trick. These guys are laying on some corn stalk bedding. That was an old car dealer trick. They give your wife a car and tell her to go test drive it and demo it for a week. Yeah. What do you think's gonna happen? She's gonna want it. But I was pretty disciplined with that. You know, I used it for a couple weeks, put 15 hours on it, and then parked it. And I told my dad, because the guy in Frankenmuth, he was willing to deal on the sprayer, and he wasn't that far off on difference, but the machine was already here. And that's what I said, Craig is gonna be hard to beat. And Dad said, don't count out Frankenmuth. And I didn't, except that I hadn't heard from Frankenmuth, and Craig just showed up. So good moral of the story there, guys. If you're in sales, or I guess anything in life, be persistent, show up, keep you know, I was surprised. I was just gonna let that skid steer sit there until someone came and talked to me, and he just showed up, and that was it. So hey guys, Merry Christmas, guys. Christmas Day. I'm gonna head back here and we're gonna check Grant out. He got a little blue tractor, Power Wheel. Mom got him. And we'll check him out. He takes his sister in the little wagon. They drive around in the garage. But yeah, that's what's going on today. I just want to tell you how we worked that deal with the skid steer. So difference is, if you're not a farmer and you're going to do a car like I did Rochelle, you have to take the car there. Farmers, generally, the dealers come to you. And you know, like with her van, I contacted 3 dealers. There was one in Romeo, or Sarah dealer, and the one in town where I live happened to have the exact van that was a year-old model, new, and they made us the best deal. But that just happened to be, I just didn't go uptown and buy a van. That was about a month of researching and talking with them guys, and them calling me. Once you contact a car dealer, they will not leave you alone. And that was about a month. And finally I told the wife, we just come to the conclusion, we said, the best car for us is right 5 miles away, right in town. Hey guys, you guys are in a good mood. Santa come last night? So she's melting off now, so I just want to tell you, thanks for sticking around with me, guys. I think this is my 5th, going into my 6th year on YouTube. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. I went through the analytics. 50% of you guys watching are not subscribed. So if you can figure out how to subscribe, I think it helps the channel out, helps me out. Like the video. I'm gonna head home. I'll get you some action of the big Grant man on his new, looks like a Ford tractor, but he loves the color blue. So Rochelle made sure she got him a blue tractor, and his sister gets to ride along with it, and I'll show you some other Christmas pictures. And we were at her parents' last night, Christmas Eve. They put on like a little food thing, and then the kids get presents, and so it's going good. I got a milk tonight. I'm not complaining about it, and then I got some more footage from about a week ago cleaning that ag bag up. So if I don't see you, Merry Christmas, have a Happy New Year. God bless. Turn the radio on. You know where the radio is? There you go. here. Whole spreader load. Check out what we've got. Not bad for just scooping. Yeah, how would you like to feed that to the cows? I'll come in here now and I'll grab that skid steer with the forks. And I'll roll this bag and I'll rub it right into the, turn it into manure. This is Dad's tractor he uses to spread all the time. I don't spread a whole lot. A little bit. She strows. What you do is you just find these controls. Take your time. PTO. Why don't you put this down to C2? Then we're rolling and I'm just pulling back on this lever, and that's what will run the spreader. You know, with this new spreader with them flaps, you can't really see it chucking out. I can, but you probably can't. Riding right along where Dad's been spreading. Very steamy, moldy. PTO off. Yeah, that's what she looks like. Got that taken care of. I'll have to get rid of that bag now. You'll nose this in here because she keep her out of the wind. Bunch of green stuff in here. See, I fed their corn silage, and right here I put some hay right on top, just like the nutritionist wanted. So let's get in this machine, grab the forks. See if this tractor will start. Let it warm up for a second. I think if you push this key in, it'll preheat it. It's out of Canada. She should go. It's cold in Canada. Oh. How you like that? Ag bag, the last one, getting disposed of. You know what we're gonna do now? Something that should have been done a long time ago. Got a soybean head that bailed us out this year. Time to get put away. Ever seen these hitches back up instead of go forward? The extended hitches retracts and it goes out. I think it's a Canadian feature. A handy little tractor, 5065E Canadian auction find, 2020. Well, that was COVID, so probably 2019. We were locked down in 20. That's where we're gonna put it. We can angle it in here. Really should be having someone guide me back. Hang on a second. Okay, so it's not pretty, but it's put in the barn. Yeah, this must only be about a 35-foot opening. Well, 35-foot head. So what is that? Be a 40-foot truss? Either way, I can put some stuff here now. She's out of the weather. Pulled that tongue in out of the way so don't get hit. There, that's better.